Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. We made it. We made it to the end of January. I am so excited that January is now over. For some reason, that month just seems to drag on, like really drag on. Like the 31 days, it seems like it's almost 60 days. But we made it. So now we are halfway through the pantry challenge. I have challenged myself and I'm going to do this January, February. So I'm at the halfway mark, which is really exciting. And I am honestly seeing a huge difference in my freezer and I love it. Hopefully you guys can see me. It's really dark in here because it's raining outside today. I am super excited that I am starting to see a noticeable difference in my freezer. Like we are using through a lot of the stuff that we've preserved, which is the whole purpose why we preserve it. We don't, again, I say this all the time, I don't preserve stuff just to sit and look at it. I preserve it so that we can eat it and have food. So we're doing a really good job with eating through that freezer stuff, which is awesome. So I have a little bit of a confession to make. We ate out twice. So the reason we ate out, and I'm giving myself grace with this, my daughter and her boyfriend came to visit us for a week and a bit. And while they were here, we got news that he actually got a really amazing job. He got a job offer. And my daughter actually found out that she got a job offer as well. So we had two reasons to celebrate. Yes, we can definitely have a nice meal at home. We definitely were equipped to be able to make that. But honestly, they're not here very often. And I wanted to do something special for them. So we ended up going out to eat one night to celebrate that. And then the second night we ate out, we actually decided to go up north for the day. So that day we were not able to come home and eat. So we actually had lunch at a restaurant that day. So 2 times we ate out. I was feeling a little bit guilty because I'm like, pantry challenge, I need to be accountable with this. But then I remembered this is a personal challenge. I am not being graded by anybody. Nothing is going to happen if I change my rules. I really like to have goals and definitely I was a little bit of upset about it, but you know what? Grace, and I'm giving myself that. So we're just kind of doing a little bit of a reset right now. So we ate out twice. I have actually not gone and got groceries aside from what I said that I was going to do. I definitely went and got some produce and we had to restock our milk. That was something at the beginning that I kind of said already that I was gonna give myself grace with. But one thing that I have oddly been craving lately, and I normally don't crave this, like I am not a big chip eater. We love to have like tortilla chips because we love our nachos, but I honestly don't crave like a potato chip lately. I have been. I don't know why, but I have been craving Dorito chips. So what do I do when I can't go and purchase them from the store? I figure out how to make my own. So today we are going to experiment and we're going to make 2 different types of chips. Now, I say we're going to make, I mean, we are going to attempt to make 2 different types of chips because I've honestly never made this before. So the theme of all of my videos, we're gonna experiment. I honestly think I need to change the name of my channel to Experimenting with Krista because I feel like that's what we do every video. I mean, I definitely make my classics that I really love, but I love experimenting in the kitchen. Because I said it last week, sometimes when you experiment, you can get the best family recipes out of them. So today we are going to attempt to make some Dorito chips, and we are also, just gonna bring it up here, we are going to attempt to make some Fritos. By making the Fritos, there's actually a lot of recipes that use the Fritos. Like you can make these really delicious like taco bakes with them. I'm not gonna do that. I just kind of want the chips. So that is on today's agenda. I will leave the recipes linked for you guys below in the video description because I do have them linkable for you. So one thing I got out of my freezer yesterday was I got 2 packs of corn tortillas. These ones I purchased from Azure Standard. They're just a small tortilla. Both of the recipes that we are doing today call for a corn tortilla. You can definitely make your own. I just have these in my freezer available, so we're going to use what we have available. But I have heard it is somewhat easy to make your own corn tortillas. I've not yet mastered it. hence why I buy them. There's a couple of different recipes that we can try with the Doritos. There's like a nacho cheese, a cool ranch, and a spicy taco. But honestly, I am just kind of craving like the nacho cheese one. So we're gonna do that one today. And one of the recipe, actually you make it in the air fryer. The Dorito one is an air fryer recipe. I'm just gonna check the recipe and see if you can do this in the oven. I would imagine you can do it in the oven. Or if you have like extra tallow, you could definitely deep fry this as well. Unfortunately, the recipe does not say anything about being able to do this in the oven. We're gonna get out our air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you could definitely experiment by doing it in the oven. What's the worst that's gonna happen? You're probably gonna get a softer chip, but it probably will still end up tasting edible. What I actually have to do before we can even start that is I need to put my breakfast away. I made a batch of pancakes this morning. So I make my own homemade pancake mix. I have a short on here showing how I make my pancake mix. I actually experimented a little bit this morning with my pancake recipe. I took some frozen raspberries that I had and I thawed them out a bit. I took a little bit of my sourdough starter, like just some discard because I needed to feed it anyway. So I had leftover discard. So I added the raspberries and the discard to this, and I added a hefty amount of vanilla. Amazing. I call them like a raspberry cream pancake. They're delicious. But I always make more when I'm making pancakes. I try to double the batch sometimes because I love being able to have extra pancakes in the fridge or the freezer. It makes for a really quick breakfast one morning. You can just pop them in the toaster and it's amazing. So I'm gonna get these in the fridge. I was just waiting for them to get cooler. Guys, we have had the most insane freezing weather lately. Like it was freezing the last 2 weeks. I said to my daughter, because when they came, that's when the weather dropped. And I said, you guys brought that cold weather with you because it was freezing when they were here. And literally the day they flew out, the temperatures went right back up. And now they're calling for 70-degree weather on the weekend, which is amazing. So what happened yesterday, because the weather got warmer and it was beautiful and sunny, I got my grow lights out. Oh, I was like, yesterday I could just feel spring, like just, I could almost just see the very tip of spring. So I got my seed starting stuff out. I am gonna actually get some of my cooler weather crops started, like my broccoli, my lettuce, all of that. I actually do need to get that started within the next week. So I'm not really jumping the gun on it. I needed to get that done. And then one other fun spring thing I wanna show you guys. Look what we have in here. I hate when they lay like that. I always think they're dead. We got some little babies. Hey guys. I'm not going to pick them up because I don't want to have to rewash my hands. So over the last couple of months, I have actually been having some issues with my laying hens. I have been losing a lot of hens. Like they unfortunately are getting sick and they're passing away. I don't think it's bird flu because I've kind of checked their symptoms and I'm not losing like a mass amount all on the same time frame. Like it's just there's other symptoms that they have that aren't exactly bird flu. But anyway, something is going through that flock. And so what I've decided to do is just kind of reset my flock. I went and got some chicks from Rural King. I purchased 4 of each kind and I'll leave the breeds below because they are like a specialty breed. One of them lays blue eggs and the other lays brown eggs, but they're like a big, huge, fluffy white chicken. I'm probably gonna go this week and pick up another couple because unfortunately, and this does happen quite frequently when you buy baby chicks from the store. So this is not anything to do with the issue that I'm having, but we've actually lost 3 of the chicks that we bought. So I've been dealing with a lot of chicken death lately, which is really, really sad because my laying hens are my pets. Like those are, I call them my girls. I really, really love my chickens. So it's been kind of upsetting that I've been losing so many of them, but we're going to reset the flock. And the reason I'm starting to get them this early is because I am hoping that by mid-summer, these girls will start laying. And I honestly hate that I have to reset it, but it's just that is sometimes homesteading life. Like it is not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes there's definitely hard stuff that happens. So anyways, new chicks, exciting. We got our seed starting stuff out, which is even more exciting. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video and show you guys what I'm planning on starting in my garden, because honestly, when I post those videos, they do not do well. Like they do not get hardly any views at all. So if you guys would be interested in seeing kind of what I plan on planting this year, I can definitely do a seed haul. Just leave a comment and let me know. And maybe I could do like just like a one-off video and show you guys what I plan on putting in my garden this year, because I'm so excited about gardening. Today it's gloomy and gray, kind of a little bit colder, but I'm still got that spring fever. I could just feel it. So anyways, again, with the chatting, I love to chat with you guys. It's like, I look forward to turning this camera on and being able to kind of have my friends with me. So those are the updates right now, but we're gonna get started on making these Dorito chips. Okay, so first things we need to do is make the seasoning for these. This is my spice cabinet. I definitely keep it very, very well stocked. And yes, I do use all of these spices. When you make everything from scratch, this is very important to have, because this is a sure way to not fail at making stuff from scratch. Flavor, have lots of different flavor options. What we're gonna do first is just get out the seasoning that we need. So we need some chili powder. We need some paprika. So in this situation, I am actually going to use regular paprika. I am such a huge fan of smoked paprika. In fact, I prefer it over the regular stuff. I just love the flavor that it gives stuff. But I'm thinking in this situation, smoked paprika is not going to be the flavor profile we're going for. So I'm just going to use a sweet paprika. I'm going to use some onion powder and some garlic powder. We need some cumin. And we need coriander. Coriander is not one of my main spices, so I kind of have it tucked over here in this area. I really need to do something about this area, because I'm finding that it is very difficult to get at some of my spices. Okay, so I've got some ground coriander right here. I don't have very much. It doesn't call for very much, so that's okay. I need to actually make some more. All you do is just take coriander seeds, which are cilantro seeds. You just take those, grind them up, and then you have ground coriander. And then we need sugar, salt, and pepper. I'm definitely not going to skimp with the sugar in this recipe, because I feel like that is actually going to make them taste a little bit more like the Doritos that I eat from the store, like the processed bad Doritos. Trying to mimic the bad Doritos, but make them a little bit more healthier. So we're gonna add the sugar. It doesn't call for very much, just a teaspoon. And then we have our tortillas. We need to have 12 corn tortillas. It does not specify the size. Again, like I said before, these are just those are just the small ones. And then we need to get some oil. I'm going to use an avocado oil in this, and I'm just going to use my spray bottle with it. This I just got on Amazon, and this is just regular avocado oil in this. If you don't have one of these, you could probably just use like a cooking spray as well. It says spray oil as needed. So you need some type of way to spray it. Okay, so let's get this seasoning started. I also grabbed a Ziploc baggie, because once we make this seasoning, we're gonna put it into a Ziploc baggie. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of chili powder. This is actually a medium chili powder, so it does have a touch bit of heat to it. So these might be a more spicier nacho. Then we're gonna do a tablespoon of paprika, a tablespoon of onion powder, tablespoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of cumin, and then a teaspoon of coriander. I was gonna buy some coriander from Azure, because that's normally where I buy all my bulk spices, but it is very, very expensive for ground coriander. So I've just decided that I have a whole bunch of coriander seeds. When I grew cilantro this year, I purposely let some of it, well, I didn't purposely do it. It does it very well here because we get so hot so quickly. I let a lot of it go to seed, and I just took those seeds and then saved them. And so now I have a whole bunch of coriander seed. So I'm just gonna grind those up. Here in the South, it's very difficult to grow cilantro for a really long time. You have like a small, tiny window for it. But it's very easy to grow cilantro seed or coriander seed. So if you use a lot of coriander, you're in luck living in the South. Just plant cilantro and you'll get a lot of seed. Okay, and then next up, we're going to use a teaspoon of sugar. I'm just using an organic cane juice, so it's a little bit darker than your typical sugar, and that's fine to use in here. And then we need half a teaspoon of salt. It just says to taste, and then also half a teaspoon of pepper to taste. Okay, and then we're gonna whisk this together. My onion powder is all clumpy, so I have clumps of onion powder in here, like really thick, like hard clumps. So I'm just gonna take those out. They're like little rocks of onion powder in here. I don't know how to prevent my onion powder from doing that. This is what the mixture looks like. Hopefully the light will pick it up. It doesn't really have that fake red look to it, so hopefully it tastes good. Okay, got it in the baggie. So what we're gonna do before we cut up our tortilla chips is we're gonna get our air fryer preheated. My air fryer does require preheating, so I'm just gonna do that. It only needs 7 minutes to preheat. Okay, I lied when I said that it did not mention you could do these in the oven. It does mention it. It's just a little bit further in the recipe. So if you don't have an air fryer, you can do these in your oven at 375, and you're gonna do them for 10 to 12 minutes. We're gonna use the air fryer, so I'm gonna just set it for 375. Get that preheating. Oh, and the other cool thing that she says is you do not necessarily need corn tortillas. You can actually use flour tortillas in this. You can use like a low carb tortilla, and you can even use like a gluten-free tortilla. Whatever you have available, she says this recipe is pretty interchangeable and you could use those. I am going to get my pizza cutter out to do this. Some of them are falling apart, but that's okay. These are actually not super old. They've been in the freezer and they store really well in the freezer. So we're gonna cut them in half. And then we're gonna take this. And then that's about a good size of them. Says you want to get 8 out of 1 tortilla. This first tortilla is really falling apart, but that's fine. You never, when you buy a bag of Doritos, sometimes you get broken chips. So we have some broken chips here. Okay, I'm not gonna make a lot. I'm gonna save these last couple ones. My air fryer is done preheating. So what it says to do is just take these and just kind of spread them out a little bit. And then what we're gonna do is just spray them with our oil. I wanna make sure that both sides kind of have a good coating of oil on them. Okay, and then we're gonna take our air fryer basket and we're gonna put these in here. And it says to make sure that there is enough room around them because you want them to crisp up, and if they're overlapping each other, they will not do that. So make a nice thin layer of these. And I have a really small air fryer, so this is going to take a while to make these. Okay, and now I'm just gonna give these another quick little spray on top. And then we're gonna get them in, and we're gonna put them in for 3 minutes. And then after the 3 minutes, we're gonna come flip them, spray a little bit more oil if they need it, and then we will put them in again for another 3 minutes. While that batch is going, I'm actually gonna get my oven preheated. We need to preheat it to 380, and this is to make the Fritos, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Fritos? Fritos, I think that's how you say it. Get a cookie sheet out for those, and I'm gonna use a silicone lined cookie sheet. Our air fryer just dinged, so what we're gonna do is we are just going to flip the chips. They kind of, because they're light chips, they're kind of blowing around in there. I think I'm gonna give them one more spray because some of them look like they could use it. And I'm gonna put them back in for about 2 more minutes. Just went off. Ooh, we got some chips in here. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the chips and we are going to put them in the bag that has our seasoning. Try not to wreck them. Just gonna put those aside for 1 second, and I'm just gonna get another batch going. Now that we've got the chips in here, we're just gonna seal the bag up and we're gonna shake them. Get them good and coated. Then you're gonna take them out and you just wanna kind of shake any of the excess seasoning off of them, and there you go. There is a homemade nacho Dorito. I'd say this is more like a taco one than a nacho one. I also found a recipe for a Cool Ranch Dorito, which is probably my most favorite Dorito, but I just kind of want to try the OG first. So we're gonna give these a taste. They're a little hot still, but that's okay. I think they need salt. And I also think that they need more of a cheesy taste. It would not be one of my videos unless I made a modification. They are definitely crunchy. Like if you're craving something crunchy, these are perfect. So I'm gonna add some nutritional yeast in this because this kind of gives it like a cheesy flavor. So we'll just put a little bit in here, and I'm adding more salt because there is not enough salt in this at all. One thing that I love about Doritos is that they're like that cheesy, salty taste. So we're gonna add more salt. And we'll try this round and see how it is. Let's get these ones out. Get them put into the bag and see if that salt and nutritional yeast made a difference. I know that they make a cheddar cheese mix. That would definitely taste delicious in this as well, or using that for these. Okay, let's give these a shake. Maybe also I didn't have enough oil on them and that's why the flavoring wasn't sticking to it, but looks like it's sticking pretty good to this one. Let's try this one. A little better. Not quite there yet. What could we add? I think that it is honestly, in my head, I'm really thinking about that cheesy taste to it, like the nacho cheese. I think that having that cheese mix would really benefit here, but they definitely taste better with the nutritional yeast. I'm just laying them all on this platter just so that they can kind of cool down. These would taste amazing dipped in some guacamole. That would taste really, really good. You know what I think we're gonna do? I think we're gonna make a Cool Ranch one because we still have all of these chips and I'm feeling I really wanna experiment with a Cool Ranch. Let me find the recipe. If you have ranch dressing mix, that probably would taste delicious as well to coat them with. Maybe let's do this batch with this stuff and then we'll make the Cool Ranch one for the recipe that I found. Because if you don't have this available, it'd be nice to have another option to make. So let's try that. So we're just gonna use like maybe 2 teaspoons in this little bag here because we're just gonna do a small little batch. Okay, so that's the pre-made ranch dip. So we're gonna make our own here. So to make our own, we're gonna use a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, 2 teaspoons of dried chives, and then we're gonna go in with a teaspoon of salt because I clearly like salty things. We'll just stir that up. This is also a dairy-free ranch version, whereas this stuff does have dairy in it. So if you are dairy-free, this one would work. Our air fryer just went off. Let's get them out of here and put them in our bag with our pre-made ranch. We need to get these a little bit hot. Okay, let's give these a shake. Already I'm feeling a tad bit more confident with this recipe. Okay, here's the Cool Ranch. It tastes like chips with ranch seasoning. Pretty good. All right, we'll get our other ranch seasoning in here. They are definitely addicting. They're good. They're satisfying my crunch craving, which is what I was looking for. I'm excited to try the Fritos. The Fritos, I'm hoping that they work out because then I could definitely make like a Frito bake or like a taco bake with them, use them as a crunchy topping. And if these chips didn't turn out, that would be another really good thing to use these for, would be a nice crumble topping on top of like a ground beef casserole. So while we're waiting for these to finish, I'm gonna actually insert a clip in here and show you guys what we did for dinner. A while ago, I did a video showing you guys some really good high protein meals. We have been eating them so much. So one of the meals that I made in that video was a chicken nugget. So last night I decided to put some of the chicken nuggets in the air fryer. I go through phases a lot where I don't really use it at all, and then all of a sudden I just use it for a whole bunch of recipes. I guess I'm in my air fryer phase of life right now because it's getting used a lot. So anyways, we did the chicken nuggets, and then one thing that I wanted to have to dip with them was some sweet and sour sauce. So in that clip, I show you guys how easy it is to make your own sweet and sour sauce. And again, we got to use some of the jam that we have a huge stockpile of to make that sauce. So I'm gonna insert that clip right here, and then when we get back, we can try that Cool Ranch seasoning, the one that we just made with the nacho chips. One of the main reasons why I actually canned plum jam was to be able to make a sweet and sour sauce. Now this plum jam does actually taste really delicious on toast, but it made a delicious sweet and sour sauce. So to get started with this meal, we're gonna take our chicken nuggets. I will leave that video linked for you guys showing you how I made these chicken nuggets. These things are amazing. I also made a chicken burger in that video as well, and that has been on repeat. We have run out of those a long time ago, and I've actually since made quite a bit more because they are really, really good. So we're gonna get those nuggets into the air fryer, and we're gonna get started making our sweet and sour sauce. So you wanna add half a cup of water to a measuring cup or a small bowl, whatever you have, and then you're going to add 1 teaspoon of arrowroot powder, cornstarch, whatever you have available. Now I am doubling this recipe, so that's why you see me adding a little bit more. And then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of the plum jam to your saucepan. Now, my plum jam is super sweet. The recipe actually calls to use a sugar in this. I omitted the sugar because my plum jam is already very, very sweet, plus the ketchup has sugar in it. So I just totally omitted this sugar in it. Then you're going to add 1 tablespoon of ketchup and then 1 tablespoon of a wine vinegar. I'm just using a white wine vinegar. And then you're going to stir those ingredients until they're all combined. And then you're going to put this on top of the stovetop and put it on about a medium high heat. And then you're going to slowly stir in your cornstarch or your arrowroot mixture. And then what you want to do is just heat this for about 5 to 6 minutes until you notice it starting to thicken a little bit. Mine definitely took a lot longer than that. And so as I was stirring it, I did a little taste test and it just was not sweet enough. So I came in and added a little bit of plum jam to this, and it also did not have that salty factor that I was used to with the sweet and sour sauce. So I came in and added probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of a liquid aminos to this. You could use soy sauce as well or coconut aminos, but I just wanted that kind of umami taste that I usually get with a sweet and sour sauce. I'm just going to flip my chicken nuggets in the air fryer. I like to do this halfway through, just kind of respray them. It helps them kind of crisp up a little bit more. So the sauce is finally starting to thicken. You don't really want to leave that boil on the stovetop because it does have that sweet jam in it. It will burn and stick. So just make sure you're kind of stirring it often. The other thing we had on this night was some canned carrots. I love canned carrots, but they do have a certain taste to them. And one way that I kind of combat that is I make sure that I rinse them really good when I'm taking them out of the jar. And I find that that kind of takes like that canned carrot taste off of them. So my nuggets are done, so I'm just going to set them aside for dinner. And I actually ended up making a double batch of those nuggets because that small air fryer doesn't make very much. So it has probably been about 20 minutes and the sauce is finally thickened up. So I'm just going to pour it into a measuring cup because it makes it a lot easier to pour into like little dishes. That, and I just kind of wanted it to cool a little bit before I put it into a container for the fridge. So that is the done product, and this was such a quick and easy, delicious meal. Like, I love pre-prepping stuff ahead of time like these nuggets because it makes for quick meal nights. Let's give this one a try. Lots of experimenting today. I'm hoping we find one that we really love because honestly, I'm not in love with any of these yet. It's a good alternative if you're in a crunch, but I'm not like loving them. Maybe they're just not oily enough and not enough of the seasoning sticking. So here's this one. I'm thinking that cheese is the way to go because this one does not. This one isn't it either. Well, I guess that's why we experiment, right? You win some and you lose some. Last week's experiment was definitely a win. This one, not quite. This is exactly why I'm happy I didn't make a whole bunch of them. Instead of me making more of these chips that I am honestly not falling in love with, I'm gonna save these triangles that we just made and we're gonna use some of these for the Frito chips because you need to do the exact same thing. You need to just cut them. You cut them a tad bit different, but we'll just repurpose these. Not my favorite. Let's get our Fritos cut up because they take 10 to 15 minutes in the oven. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting these in strips. You want them to be somewhat equal, which I'm not really doing. Some of these are definitely bigger than other ones. I feel like my pizza cutter also needs to get sharpened. Can you sharpen a pizza cutter with like a knife sharpener? I don't know, but mine is pretty dull. I'm gonna get these put on to the baking sheet. Again, not even at all. I say I'm a perfectionist and then I do things like this, and that clearly makes me believe I am not a perfectionist because this is not perfect. We're gonna get our oil and we're just going to spray all of these. Just give them a little toss, make sure that they're evenly coated with all of the oil. We have our oven again preheated at 380. So we're gonna put these in the oven for 12 to 15 minutes. My oven, I am gonna probably do 20 minutes. We're gonna get started with this. So we're gonna do a teaspoon of salt. The recipe calls for 3/4 teaspoon. I'm just upping it to a teaspoon because I've learned in this little experiment that I like salty chips. So we're just gonna up the salt. 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder, and it does say an unsalted chili powder. I don't think this chili powder has salt in it. This is just one that I got from Azure Standard, and I'm pretty sure it's salt-free. And then we need 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm gonna end up leaving these out and just refilling them because they're getting empty. Same with the onion powder. We've been doing a lot of experimenting with these today. So 1 teaspoon of onion powder and then 1 teaspoon of cumin. And then it says 1/2 teaspoon of nutritional yeast. We'll just put in a teaspoon. And then we'll just give that a stir. We will be back when those Fritos are nice and crispy out of the oven. And then we gotta toss them in our seasoning blend, which hopefully, I'm not gonna be discouraged, but kind of am. Hopefully it tastes a little bit better. Fingers are crossed. Our timer went off. I can definitely smell these. Hopefully I didn't burn them. Yep, we burnt them. Ah! I guess that's the whole thing with making sure you have them evenly cut, because some of them are not burnt and some of them are very burnt. Do we try this again? I don't know. I don't know. Let's just take one of these that are not superly burnt. We'll dip it in here and we'll just give it a taste. And if it tastes good, we'll put some more in the oven, but kind of honestly discouraged today. That one's actually pretty good, but I am not trusting my ability right now to cook. I am just not, I guess, having a good day in the kitchen. Honestly, I debated when I put those in the oven if I was even gonna put this video out because these just did not turn out very well. But I am a firm believer that you win some and you lose some. And I honestly just don't wanna show you guys all the wins because that's not real life. You just, honestly, you don't win at everything. And I live in the real world here. I have a real kitchen, I have real problems, and I'm gonna show you guys all of the real stuff. So unfortunately, today's recipe was not a win, but if you guys have a really good recipe, like a seasoning blend that you think would taste really good on those chips, leave it below because I would love to experiment. I was thinking that when I put those in the oven, one thing that I might do different if I do attempt to make this again is I'm thinking I'm going to salt the chips before I put them in the air fryer. That might make a little bit of a difference. The other thing I thought of when they were in the air fryer is that cinnamon and sugar would taste delicious on those, like a sweeter, almost like a churro in a way. That would be really, really good. I'm still definitely gonna eat those chips because they're okay. They're not like horrible. They would taste really good if they were like dipped into some type of like dip, just to give them a little bit more flavor. And I think that's the problem with them. It's not that the crunch factor is not there, because it definitely is. It's just the taste factor isn't there for me. The flavor, not the taste factor, the flavor is just not there. But if you want, give them a try, see if you like them. Maybe I'm just having an off day. But that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the disaster of a day in the kitchen, because again, real life is happening here. So thanks again, guys, for watching, and I hope you have a good day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.